Hi everyone and welcome to another episode by Poor Man Gamer. Today I'm going to show you the deck that I've been using as I continue my journey to the Tiberium League on the GDI side. In the next video I'm going to show you what I'm doing on the Not side. I've been winning at a fairly consistent rate. I'll show you the armies that I've been using. The GDI, this is what I've been using right here. It consists of the War Dog, the Pitbull, the Pred Tank, the Orca Bomber, the Orca, the Hammerhead, and the Shockwave. And on the Nod side, I've had a lot more success winning with it actually, which involves, the Inferno. But we'll go through that at another time. I'm going to show you guys how I actually use this GDI deck to win, and how not to use this GDI deck. Here's the key. In order for this GDI deck to be effective, you have to be very, very good at micromanaging your troops, constantly moving, and learning to cluster your troops. Meaning, in order for a deck like this to be effective with a Dr. Liang drone, you have to learn to keep your units essentially together and try to win it one tile at a time. I'm going to show you guys how not to do it in the beginning, which is, I find a lot of common mistakes. I've tried to look for other people who use this exact same deck, and they run into the same difficulties that I do now, which is they scatter the troops kind of all over the place. So at the top there, I concentrate my fire on that missile squad because I do not want to lose my harvester, clearly, right? And this opening with this deck is almost always a War Dog. The reason I open with a War Dog in his deck is because if I see a lot of infantry, I can quickly switch over to a Shockwave. If I see vehicles, I can roll out the Pitbull, or I could roll out the Pred Tank. So as you can see here, this is the first issue I have. I did not manage micro my troops well. I do see the jump jet, and the only way to be successful with this deck is to try to move in unison where you win the right matchups. As you can see here, I overcommitted on the Shockwaves, and it's going to get me in trouble because by the time that I'm able to roll down, he smartly maneuvers his jump jets out of the way, causing me to be at a matchup disadvantage. And with those drones, he's going to rapidly jump on all three tiles if he needs to, and I can't. And so I'm going to lose this first missile here. Notice how I did not micro my troops well. My Shockwaves, I should have sent it down to hold the tile, and then I should have sent another set to the middle, but now it's too little too late. I am able to take out his harvester, but he also uses his jump jet to micro very well and protect his Orca bomber, his Orca, so I can't get to it. I finally knock out those really irritating drones, and I roll out a Hammerhead in hopes of knocking out quickly. Notice how he smartly rolls out a jump jet with the Orca. Very, very smart use of his troops, and because he's constantly moving his Orca around, it makes it very difficult for me to snipe him. He also has a Talon, which he uses very well, and as you can see here, I once again overcommitted on my troops. The key to success on this deck is to use a variety of troops instead of spamming one unit, so that you gain unit flexibility and then learn to move around quickly. Drones have become very, very popular now, and as you can see here, despite my best efforts, I do not believe that I was able to get this missile, right? Because he's jumping on all three tiles just as I am, but and almost across every tile, he has a matchup advantage, right? And so there I lose a very expensive unit. I'm desperately trying to win this missile, but I clearly cannot. And as you can see here, look at his economy. He actually does pretty well. I know it looks like I have a lot of Tiberium compared to him, and it looks like I'm coming out ahead, but that's only because he's so aggressively used his Lieutenant Strong Arm, and he actually has some pretty strong units. He's got jump jets, he's got Orcas, he's rolling expensive units, versus me where I've just been kind of stuck, right? Like I said, the variety of troops is the way to go. I wasn't able to do that, right? And now I got myself in trouble. I'm pointlessly rolling out another Hammerhead, and I lose this match ultimately. I got out-microed. I did not use this deck well. I didn't have a variety of units. I overcommitted on certain units, and that's how you lose with this deck. Now I'm going to show you a slight improvement on this. Like I said, this was the first game I played logging in. I don't think I've ever won the first game logging in. Ever. So I'm going to show you here where I won. Slightly better micro and slightly better use of this deck, and I'm going to show you guys a third match where I actually used it properly and why this deck is so deadly. A lot of decks involves speed, where you can run units back and forth between different places, swarm them very quickly. This deck is totally different. It actually involves a lot of patience and moving slowly. Here I'll roll out my War Dogs, right? I'm trying to gain that 2-on-1 advantage, and as you can see, I am able to gain it and knock out that missile squad, even though it is a higher level. So I'm off to an okay start. And I roll out a Pitbull because I was hoping I could pressure his Harvester. But notice how he uses 2 missile squads to defend his Harvester. So right now it would not be smart for me to do anything with my Pitbull. I just wait for it there, right, for it to charge my missile, and I pull my War Dog back. The reason is because I want to keep this missile charging, while giving my chance with my Pitbull to retreat. So there's my Pitbull retreating. Thank you. And I try to roll out a Shockwave. I made a huge mistake here. What I meant to do was roll my Shockwave down and my Pitbull up. I wasn't able to do that, and as you can see here, he gains every advantage. My Shockwave's run in too little too late, and I totally get owned. If I rolled my Shockwave down, my Pitbull up like I should have done, you could clearly see that I should have won this matchup, right? So out comes the Pitbull to defend against drones. Drones are back in style, guys. They are really strong once again ever since they got that buff to 5 units. So I'm going to show you what happens here. He's using all his drones to take me out, all of my Shockwaves, and he's trading 20 Tiberium units for 40 Tiberium units. And despite my best efforts with my Pitbull, because it takes 5 frickin' shots to take out these drones now, they are so strong, right? Even if they are made of nothing, right? Notice how it takes 5 shots to take him out. And so I'm in a bit of trouble because now look at all these Pred tanks he's got rolling out, right? He's got the Pred tanks, he's got the first missile, and I did not micro my troops over what I should have done was keep my Pitbulls alive and start using my Lieutenant Liang drone, but I didn't. Instead of finishing off that weakened tank at the top, I allow it to live, which gets another shot onto my Pred tank, which ultimately kills my Pred tank. And now I am forced to choose between protecting my Harvester or trying to win this missile. Fortunately, he overcommitted on Pred tanks, and I sacrificed essentially my Harvester to win this missile. Because if I lose this missile, I lose the game anyway. And look at this huge disadvantage that I have now. He has a Hammerhead to wipe out my Orcas. He's got Pred tanks out there, which are really, really strong, really tanky units, right? And I have no economy versus him with 170 with all these strong units on the map. So this is one of the weaknesses of this deck. This is one of the weaknesses that I have using this deck. I should clarify. Is that I did not micro my troops very well in the beginning. What I should be doing is clustering my troops in concentrated one area, challenge one tile at a time, as opposed to scattering my units all over the place. As you can see right now, my units are scattered all over the place. I have to roll out an Orca because I am worried about his Pred tanks, right? They're at level 11, they're really strong. Drawback, he's got a Hammerhead, right? And he uses the Hammerhead to his advantage very, very well. So I noticed that also he uses the drones quite a lot. I can't take out his Hammerhead, so I'm just going to try to roll out the Pitbull Shockwave combination in hopes of winning this missile. I don't know why he was trying to blow up my base. I think that was a huge mistake on his part because if he was just a little bit more patient to try to win this missile, he would have won this match. And fortunately, I was able to get this missile here and get the win. But as you can see here, it's more so I caught a lucky break because he lost his patience as opposed to me playing well. I'm going to show you guys one last deck here, or one last match on how to use this deck effectively. It involved a lot more micro, proper use of the troops, and it was against somebody in the Tiberium League, even though it was just barely there. And Alicia Destiny, this is one of her favorite maps, and as you guys know, I really like her as a player. Great player. Uses this deck very, very well. So if you guys want to learn more on how to use this deck, definitely check out some of her videos. So here's how to properly use this deck. Start out with the War Dog Scout. If you see an infantry, press that advantage, right? I'm going to go ahead and engage him. I do see his laser squad coming in, so I'm just going to go ahead there and engage him with my second War Dog and a switch fire as well. I'm not overly concerned about losing too many of my War Dogs because they're cheap units. I noticed that he has committed to quite a bit of infantry, which is why I roll out my Shockwave. Now this is the micro that I'm talking about. I roll out a Shockwave, and I roll out a War Dog. The War Dog is primarily to help me hold the pad. and the shockwave is to take out his missile squad. I notice that he's got the venom coming out, so I pull my shockwave one tile away. Notice how I pull it down and away instead of sideways. That moves it away from the field of fire more rapidly. There's my pit bull to defend my shockwave troops, and there's my shockwave troops engaging his missile squad. Notice how right now neither of us really has an advantage, but because I'm on 3 tile and he's on 2, I get the win on this one. I wasn't able to save my pit bull, which I wanted to do, but as you can see, the key here is to try to be patient. I'm not scattering my troops all over the place. Notice how I'm backing up. Shockwave engages his missile squad, Pred tank engages his scorpion tank, and the pit bull engages the venom. Right? It's all about the patience here. Notice how I do see a shockwave coming. I immediately move both my vehicles out of the way. Right? I'm trying to engage his stealth tank, and I move my shockwave down at the same time. So there's the pit bull doing damage, trying to get that stealth tank. Boom, there it goes. The key on knocking out the stealth tank is to either roll one of the keys if you can't use infantry like I have here. I don't have a missile squad. Is to try to use a Pred tank to absorb the damage, or a scorpion tank. At the same levels, that Pred tank and the scorpion tank will survive the 4 shots from a stealth tank. So here I hide behind my shockwave troops. Notice how I never even went past halfway on this map, right? Just by paying patiently in the last couple minutes. There, matchup again. I go ahead and let my Pred tank take some damage. I'm healing it up. There's my hammerhead to do more damage. I do see the stealth tank coming. I'm backing off, being patient. I don't want to take on too much damage. I roll up my shockwave, playing my matchup advantage here, focusing on winning the missile, and I go ahead and get this win. That is the difference on how to use this deck properly versus not properly. It's all about winning the missiles and being patient, owning the middle of the map, and using the Dr. Liang Zhong to heal the units as much as possible. So folks, thank you for watching. I'm going to continue using this deck on my way to the Tiberium League, and hopefully I'll get a chance to play more and get there soon. Take care. Bye-bye.